Shabbat Shalom. A few weeks ago, I was talking to a member of our congregation who was looking at the state of the world and the state of society and thinking and saying, well, what is going on here? These days where people are thinking and talking about this doesn't make sense to me anymore. Maybe every generation is the same. As parents who do not think of ourselves as being so old, but then carpooling, we hear our children discuss with their friends things happening in school. We do not even know what they're talking about. Wonder, what does that word even mean? We realize that the music that we know is now considered very old and passé, and we haven't caught up in a while. It's the passing of generations. In our parsha this week, as Zach spoke about beautifully this morning, Jacob is on his deathbed. He's getting ready to bless his children with the words of courage, of comfort, of rebuke to guide them. And it says that Jacob called his sons. The words are used in the Torah. And the Midrash, which is our early exposition of the Torah by the rabbis, notes, well, Jacob called his sons, these words, sounds almost the same to when Jacob's father Isaac called him to bless him at the end of Isaac's life. So Jacob, it concludes, commenced his blessing to his children, or the blessing that he received from his father left off. And then it says the word Jacob's blessing left off. That's where Moses' blessing, hundreds of years later, began at the end of his life, after the 40 years of wandering the desert. And then when Moses concluded his blessing, it finishes the words, happy the man who has not followed the counsel of the wicked, towards the end of it. And King David's blessing begins the book of Psalms. Happy is Israel. And it's just saying that the blessing of generations is never static. And every great leader begins the thread where they found it, but then they give a new life. They take it to new places, and it begins anew. So referring to this, the Midrash says that David, at the end of this chain, said, I have gained more understanding than my elders. And that Jacob got a blessing from his father, Isaac, who'd gotten it from his father, Abraham. And then when Jacob gave it over, his blessing was full of his life experiences, of his wrestling with the angel, of the dreams he had. And that was a blessing that his children took down to Egypt and sustained them all those years. And then Moses, he took that blessing, and at the end of his life, when he gave it over, it was filled with everything he went through, the 40 years in the desert, the great redemption. And then David took that blessing of Moses, and he gave it everything from the people's time in the land, and it became a new living blessing. And there is some sadness that blessing is always changing, and the blessing that we know will not endure. But there's also a joy to it, because it means that it's keeping to continue, and it will always find new ways forward. And then witnessing where everyone takes that blessing. So this morning, Zachary, you saw the wisdom of Jacob in giving the blessing to the youngest grandchild, whom he obviously felt was more deserving. And you said, that's fine, and it's better than automatically giving it to the oldest. But you thought both should get it. Both should get the right-handed blessing. This was your thought on this story. There should be equality, there should be justice. And you and your generation are going to take many ideas and truths that we all take for granted and turn them upside down and come up with new ones. And some of them will say, okay, and some of them will scratch our heads and wonder, where did that come from? One day you'll be in the same position with the new generation, but the blessing will move on. And we all do our best to gain more understanding than our elders. Because with every generation, we absorb more, we learn more, we understand more, and we come up with a new wisdom. And this is the great blessing of being part of something greater than just ourselves. Do we know that the whole enterprise is not only on our shoulders and is not accomplished by one person alone, but by all of us. And this is the mission and journey of the Jewish people, of all peoples maybe, that we all have our part to play. We say ethics of the Father, it's not yours to finish the task, nor are you free to desist from it. And this is the real from generation to generation that we talk about so often. And so may you always be alive with your truth, and may it shine for all as the blessings, just as the blessings of all the others who contribute to it before shine. May it bring peace to us all. Shabbat Shalom.